it is a pleasure to be speaking with the three of you and working the round here. Gigi, what familiarity, that was a bad word, familiarity did you have with Long Island before you wound up on Bridge and Tunnel?
None, absolutely none whatsoever. I'm a Miami girl, very little New York experience.
Got it. And you were the second Zumbado I've had the pleasure of interviewing, so thank you for that. Erica.
Your favorite Zumbado. You missed.
Oh,
sorry.
Duh. Like it goes without saying, right? Duh. Erica, same question at you. Long Island, had you been around Long Island before winding up on this wonderful show?
Not a ton. I mean, I've been in New York for 14 years, but I came here for college. So I grew up in the South where, obviously the Long Island accent is nowhere to be found. But I got invited by like college friends and stuff to go home for Thanksgiving with them. And it was always either New Jersey or Long Island, like the people who lived nearby. So I think I got a little bit of exposure through that, but definitely not to the degree that like a born and bred New Yorker has. But you start to figure it out.
It happens. Brian, same question to you, if you don't mind the lack of originality there.
All good. I have a fair amount of experience. I'm born and raised in New York. I grew up in the city, but my mom's from Queens. My dad's from Mount Vernon. And I mean, I gotta say, as like a New York kid, even in the five boroughs, that there was some stank on the Long Island and the Jersey. I had friends that would be in Long Island and they would always, but I had a bunch of friends that would always be in the city. And I'd be like, do you ever go home? They're like, we hate it there. We gotta be in the city. So I feel like I had experience of my friends who are now artists and live in New York or LA or wherever, who are kind of always jonesing to get into the city proper and get away from their parents on Long Island.
They eventually come back. I grew up on Long Island, hated it, wound up coming back to this wonderful beach town called Long Beach, about 20 minutes from where you filmed a lot of the show. Did everybody here, and this is a unison kind of question, did everybody get to film around Rockville Center and Lynbrook?
Did we?
Oh, yeah.
We know those camping grounds well.
We do.
I want them to frame my picture at the Hampton Inn at Rockville Center. Honestly, I should be an honorary guest there.
That's wonderful to hear because, some of the people I've spoken with from some of your castmates said, I was just there for one day. The first season filming was pretty strict with COVID. So it was kind of a go to your room, if at all. And then the second one is in and out. Some people were commuting. Did everybody get to stay there more than one day at least?
Well, the first season we were there the whole time.
Yeah.
But again, it was like we couldn't really go to restaurants. It was like much more restricted. To the second season, I think, Bella barely spent any time there because most of her stuff is all in New York City proper. But, the three of us, we were there for the majority of it. So we know those streets. We know those streets well.
Bravo Cantina. Rockville Center.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cantina's less than 5 years old, so you're up on the latest and the greatest. I mean, Rockville Center gave the world Howard Stern and Amy Schumer, lots of people, Dave Attell, lots of people, lots of great things, your show included. So the next thing I want to know, and we'll start with Erica here, Bridge and Tunnel, obviously the best show on Epix, duh. But what's the second best show?
Oh, gosh. I really love Epix because of all the movies that they play, which is probably not the answer that you're looking for, but they've got like so many of sort of like the old classics that you can go back to. And like when you're like, I don't know where I can watch this anymore, it's always Epix, and I love that about them.
What about my favorite Zumbado sister? What is her favorite show otherwise on Epix?
Honestly, I have to shout out Billy the Kid. I know it's new, but the men on that show are very handsome and they make it really easy to watch. So, if any of you guys want to come hang out with Bridge and Tunnel Epix to do a nice little merger there.
Crossover episodes, growing up, you'd see Urkel on Full House, and then it would have no continuity.
Into a Western, Tammy would fit in really well on Billy the Kid. It makes so much sense.
I agree. Brian, same question at you. Other favorite show on Epix?
I'd say, it's not usually my bag, but from I watched From, and it scared the hell out of me. And I usually stay away from that kind of stuff because I'm a little bit of a wuss when it comes to scary stuff. But it's great. From is really great.
Another thing that's remarkable about all three of you, when you go to the almighty IMDb page, this is not the latest project. All of you have been working steadily, which is wonderful to see. Brian, are you allowed to say what's next?
Am I allowed to say what's next? Well, hopefully,
Yes.
hopefully
The
Bridge
Hollywood
Tunnel season
Reporter
3.
embargo.
Hopefully
Okay.
Bridge Tunnel season 3. But then I started a Formula One podcast during the pandemic, which has kind of taken over my entire life. So you can check us out at the Red Flags F1 podcast. We just had Mario Andretti on, which was a huge deal for us.
Yeah.
So that's where that and Bridge and Tunnel are keeping me occupied at the moment.
I can only imagine the crossover between the two. I mean, there are
That's right.
bridges and tunnels in Formula One. So there you go.
That's right.
Erica, yourself, are you allowed to say what's next besides season 3, 4, 5, and 6 of this series?
Obviously. Yeah, I think so. I'm about to start work on a new show for CBS called True Lies. It's based off of a movie from the 90s. And I think that's probably all I can say, but yeah, that'll be coming down the pipeline.
Great movie with Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis and Tom Arnold. Looking forward to that. Gigi, before I let you go, are you allowed to say, besides your crossover episode of Billy the Kid coming up?
Yeah. First of all, Erica, just so you know, beat out all of the Zumbado sisters for her role on True Lies. That's coming up. A better Colombiana. But yeah, I just wrapped my final episode of Hightown on Stars. So that's going to be, I'll be in the first few episodes of that 3rd season on Stars. And that was really cool. You want to see Tammy as a prostitute. Something new every day. We love our job.
Well, I'm looking forward to all this. Thank you all for your time, and just keep up all the greatness out there.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Darren.
Paltrocast.